You are watching Fox 26 Crime Files. This week we are digging into a cold case, one that has been burning a hole in the hearts of a lot of family members of Brenda Gail Rochelle. This is a cold case from March 1st of 1989, and I'm here with her two nieces. This is Kim and Pam. So you two are her nieces,
Yes.
but y'all grew up like sisters.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Close-knit family, very close-knit.
yeah, you said you were only a few years apart from each other. So Brenda was 20 years old
Yes.
when she was murdered. And how old were you two?
I was 14.
I was 16 when she was killed, and I was 17 when she was buried. So in that span of that 2 weeks, I turned 17.
Yeah, so definitely closer to a sister.
Yes.
Yes.
And just kind of take me back. Take me back to 1989 and tell me the details of this case. I know they're hard to talk about. I know they're gruesome, but let me know what happened.
Well, on February 28th, the family went to the rodeo. I came home from the rodeo. She was still alive. She waved at us as we went next door to go home. We later found out 2 days later that she had been missing, hadn't been to school nor work, and the family put missing posters, and we started posting, the posters out, contacted HPD, did a missing persons report, and that was on March 11th, her body was found in Lake Houston. And after the autopsy, we found out that she was actually killed on March 1st. She was killed at home.
Yeah.
She was hogtied. She had brick boulders placed on the front of her body, on the back of her body, and she was in the lake for 11 days.
Wow.
There was no DNA evidence available because she was in the water.
My aunt was more like a sister to both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, the conversations you have, and to know that someone our age, this can happen to them, and then for someone
So
to take
scary.
her from home and then throw her into Lake Houston like she didn't matter, to where we didn't even have the proper closure at her services to be able to say the proper goodbyes. And you
Right.
have
Yeah.
to think about that. And over the years, we've just thought about what she could have accomplished, what
Right.
she didn't do, like get married, have kids, finish her career. And we're both grandmothers. We both have grown children, and she never experienced that. And it's kind of like, it's bittersweet.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
very traumatizing for the family. And what we want today, it's been 35 years, and we would just like for HPD and the FBI to know that the family is willing to cooperate fully to
Yeah.
bring her killer to justice, and for the family to gain closure from this.
35 years later,
Yes.
y'all are still fighting,
Still.
still looking for answers as to what happened to her. And I mean, these details in this case, it really does break your heart. It just, I can't imagine who would do something like that to somebody.
Yes, she was a young woman, a full-time student at TSU. She worked 2 jobs. I mean, she was just a young woman trying to be successful in everything that she did, and she deserved better. She didn't deserve to be done that way, and her life taken from her so tragically.
It is tragic. And I know that on the 1-year anniversary, I believe, in 1990,
Yes.
Fox 26 did a piece in our City Under Siege series.
Yes.
And we'll play a bit of that clip for you right now.
Some 11 days after Rochelle was reported missing, a boater found her body floating face down in Lake Houston near Dewson Park. Rochelle's body had been weighted down with several concrete bricks, and her hands had been securely bound and tied together. The medical examiner's office indicated that Rochelle died from drowning, and that she most probably was alive at the time she had been thrown into the lake. Due to the fact that there was not any forced entry, it's indicative that Brenda probably knew who her attacker was, or maybe felt secure enough that she trusted the individual and didn't have any sense of a fear from the person at that particular time.
And as I understand, after this aired, do you feel like some retaliation happened? I
Yes.
know some
Yes,
events
with the house
occurred.
being set on fire, yes, we do.
So explain that. What happened after this piece aired?
After it aired, after March 1st, 1990, days after, A slow burning device was placed under the bedroom where Brenda slept. It only burned certain rooms in the house, and it was mostly smoke damage, but the house was a total loss.
And so this is the house that Brenda was living in?
Yes.
Wow, the house that she was
Murdered in, yes.
Yes.
Wow. And so then we aired another piece the
Yes.
next year, again on Brenda's case, the cold case, trying to figure it out. What happened after we aired that second piece?
My grandmother moved across the street, and only family and close friends knew, and a car drove in front of the house, stopped, and shot in the air 3 times.
And on both occasions, it happened around the time that she was murdered.
Around 3 o'clock in the morning is when we're guessing that's when it happened,
And-
because that's when she was last seen about 2:30, 3 o'clock that morning.
And to be completely clear, there's no way for us here at Fox 26 to corroborate that these events were retaliation. But of course, you two are more than welcome to have your opinions about this. Do you feel as if that was retaliation?
Yes.
That's a really, really scary. And so since, we've been airing these pieces, your family has been fighting for justice. What has life been like, and why does this still matter to you?
Because her life mattered. She deserved to live out her life and do all the things that we've all been able to do in the family, and that was taken from her. And we just want justice, because her killer needs to be prosecuted and pay for what they did, to her. And not only did they kill her, they desecrated her body. They didn't have to do what they did to her.
Well, Kim, Pam, thank you so much for being here and speaking with us. This family is continuing to look for justice and absolutely want to see this case reopened. All right, we are moving along here to a chase that ended up in a fatal crash here in Houston this past week. This right here is Joseph Jebbia. Now, he is charged with felony murder, unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, unlawful possession of body armor by a felon as well. So he also was found with drugs. I went to this as a breaking news scene. We brought you a lot of coverage of it. So this all happened near 45 and West Road. Jebbia was a wanted fugitive. The Gulf Coast Violent Task Force, they were looking for him for an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charge. And they ended up locating him on the feeder road of 45 at a gas station. He realized that he was being followed and he took off. Officials say that he ended up hitting another car at a stoplight on that feeder road, and then he hit a pedestrian. And we are told that the pedestrian is 61-year-old Carrie Mitchell. Now, that's according to court documents. He hit and killed Mitchell right there at that bus stop. And after another 15 minutes or so of officials chasing Jebbia, they ended up arresting him. He crashed out into yet another vehicle. They took him into custody, and in his truck, they found what they believe is fentanyl, nearly a kilo of it, body armor, and a loaded AR. So there is no telling what this guy was up to, where he was going, what he was going to do with the drugs, gun, and body armor he allegedly had. But the members of that Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, they were certainly excited to get him off the streets.
He's constantly broken the laws. He's wanted for aggravated assault out of Montgomery County, where he almost took a lady's life. So he continues that today, and he's just done it for his entire life. And it's about time that he's taken off the streets forever, and justice needs to be served.
All right, this next one is a follow-up to a story that we brought you last week. We told you about a mother who was arrested for allegedly leaving her children inside the car on a hot day to go get pizza. The headline sounds really terrible, and that's what she's accused of. She was arrested and charged in that case. And we decided this past week that the story was worth a follow-up. So I found her address and went to her home to see if she wanted to tell her side of the story, and she did.
I went and knocked on her door. She was home and very emotional about what happened. She asked to keep her face off camera, but agreed to tell us her side of the story. She says that she stopped by Sam's Club to get some pizza for her kids.
I told them, hey, I'm going to go in and I'm going to go out. And I didn't think anything bad, anything that would have happened. I didn't know this was going to happen, honestly. In the middle of waiting, I know my daughter ran inside because her and her brother were fighting. After ordering the pizza, we went outside and my kids were already outside the car. They were holding my babies outside the car. I was not in the store for 46 minutes with my kids locked up in a hot car. I could say it was 30 minutes. The car was on. My car is a 2018. My car does run cold air. I felt like what was told on the articles was the opposite of what happened. Like, I take care of my kids, and I would never try to harm my kids, ever.
Do you feel like you learned something from this experience?
I did learn. It was an eye-opening. One mistake, I felt like all this just ruined my whole name, like my character. I did messed up. But do I deserve to be called all this nasty, horrible things? I would never have my kids go through the system like I did, you know? I think that's what hurts the most, like them saying my kids need to get taken away. I'm not a bad mom. I feel like I'm one of the best moms. I love my kids. I do so much.
That's it for this week's Fox 26 Crime Files. I'm Abigail Dye. I appreciate you hanging out with us this week. I'll see you next week.